What's up, weirdos? And welcome back to another episode of Universe of Weirdos. It is I, Jay Kraft, the great feedback machine, baby, and we are here for another feedback and questions FAQ episode of Universe of Weirdos. This is where I read you, the listeners, feedback and questions. And there are many different ways you can send me this. You can hit me up on my social medias. I am at X on jcraft247 over there. I am at Instagram. I am Universe of Weirdos over on Instagram. Shoot me a DM on there if you would like. But the best way, and where most of these come from, is through my email, which is universeofweirdos@gmail.com. And I like to do these once a month, once every, 6, 7, 8 episodes or so, because, I get a lot of feedback, a lot of people that want to kind of join in on the discussion of what I'm talking about in my previous episodes, and I don't want too much time to go by and let those episodes get stale before I read your responses to them, so we're growing a lot. Universe of Weirdos is growing a lot. We've been getting a lot of new listeners, a lot new downloads. We are now officially a monetized podcast, so dynamic ad insertion. I hope you're excited about that. Once I know more information on the dynamic ad insertion that will be on this podcast, I'll let you guys in on it. I'm going to guess it's going to be 30-second to a minute-long ads at the beginning and end of the episode. And, hey, if you're anything like me, you just skip right past that shit. So I ain't going to be mad at you if you do that to me. But, I just, I like for this podcast to at least do a little bit something for me and for my bank account. So I would appreciate if you at least support it a little bit and at least not get too mad that there's going to be ads playing in some future episodes. But as I said, this is feedback and questions. FAQ. Fuck you! And I'm going to start off with this really weird one from Jeff. Jeff likes to send me stuff about music a lot, and he sent me this. What do you think about Alabama? The band, not the state, but if you want to give your opinion on that, that's cool too. LOL. I don't think too much about either of them, Jeff. If I'm being completely honest with you, the band Alabama, the state Alabama, neither one take up a whole lot of real estate in my mind, so I've been to Birmingham before. My sister used to live in Birmingham. But as far as the band, really give a crap about them. But here's another one here. I know I said no more donkey lips. And this person didn't explicitly say that this was in response to me talking about Michael Ray Bauer and kind of dressing him down as being this lol cow who knows nothing about entertainment. But I'm so very suspicious that this next email, which I got at universeofweirdos@gmail.com, sent from somebody named Beth, who I would assume Beth Bauer. Either that or that's a fake name that Michael Ray Bauer's coming up with. But this one is hilarious. This one's the best piece of feedback I've ever gotten because, ugh. So Beth says, I'm sure your lucrative podcast affords you a very lavish lifestyle. I know you won't read this on your show. Oh, someone's wrong, Beth. Someone's wrong. Since you are such an entertainment expert, and you put that in quotes, so seemingly you're quoting me, someone who has never said that they were an entertainment expert. So let's keep going. Since you are such an entertainment expert, what advice would you give yourself, and would you take it with capital Y-O-U? I'm interested to see how arrogant you are when the shoe is on the other foot and someone is telling you to do better. And again, do better is in quotes. Now, Beth, who I'm pretty sure you're just Michael Ray Bauer, either that or you're some sort of weird, fangirl who's like, somebody talked bad about donkey lips. I gotta get even. Now, I was originally not going to read this, but there's something about that. I know you won't read this on your show. Little jab that you want to put in there. Now, my podcast does not afford me a very lavish lifestyle. I have other means of income that afford me I wouldn't say lavish lifestyle, but I can tell you I do not live in a studio apartment with no kitchen, like your boy Donkey Lips. I do live in a 5-bedroom house with my wife and son. So, what advice would you give yourself, and would you take it? Be better at social media. Take the social media stuff a little bit more seriously, engage with people more on social media, build a more social media presence, maybe even actually download TikTok onto your phone. Would I take it? No, I guess I wouldn't because I haven't done it yet. I just post AI images on Instagram. I don't do anything to try to gain followers. I don't really do a whole lot on X. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. I'm not so arrogant when the shoe is on the other foot and someone's telling me to do better, which is not something that you did, by the way. You just asked me what advice I would give myself. Again, putting the responsibility on other people, which leads me to believe that this was actually Michael Ray Bauer and not some lady named Beth sticking up for the guy. Because again, you don't even take jabs at me. You just basically go like, what would you say to yourself? Like, come on, man. You're being lazy. You're just like your friend Donkey Lips. I can see why you're such a fan, because you're very lazy with your negative feedback. You're asking me to make fun of myself, basically. Hey, what kind of jabs would you take at yourself, you piece of shit? I don't know. Maybe fucking think a little bit more about the things that you're about to say before you say them so you don't stumble over your words, or I don't know, kind of have to finish a thought half-baked right there in the middle. Maybe I give myself that advice. I don't know. Somebody telling me to do better. Shut the fuck up, Beth. That's my response to that one. Shut the fuck up. CJ, what do you think the world really will be in 2070? How do you think the world will fuck itself and turn into a wasteland? I'm assuming this is in response to my British vision of the future episode, which I loved that episode a lot. The little British kids worrying about the bomb. I don't know, man. Like, why is it always got to be dystopian? Why does the vision of 2070 have to be, I don't know, destruction and devastation and nuclear war? Like, why can't it be, eventually, I think at some point we're going to get our shit together, and I think eventually some point we're going to have harmony and peace? Maybe? Could that happen? I don't know, but like, why does it always have to be a dystopian vision of the future? I don't know if I buy into that one, CJ, but what do I think the world will be in 2070? I think we'll have a lot more advanced technology. Obviously, AI is going to be a big thing, even though people kind of hate it because you can make pictures with it. But no, AI is going to be a huge thing. You're going to have a lot of like, you know, the whole Alexa device type of thing is going to be automatically built into everything. Smart glasses will probably be a big thing. Like, I'm really surprised. Like, what I would like from a pair of fucking smart glasses, you know, those Meta AI Ray-Bans or whatever the fuck they have. I would love, this is my idea for those, right? Or, you know, some sort of fancy high-tech eye contact, right? Like contact lens. Like, what you need to do is work on a way to make it adjustable to somebody else's eyesight. So, like, if I have I have shitty vision, so I can't really wear those Meta AI things unless I'm having like prescription lenses put in them, and then that makes them severely more expensive. So what you need to do is have some sort of way or some sort of app on your smart glasses that will adjust to the person's eyesight. So there you go. You never have to go get another eye test. You never have to get a new pair of glasses ever again. That's my prediction, and that's selfish because I want that to happen for my own benefit. So there we go. I don't know. And then maybe the nuclear bomb, somebody's going to get a hold of the bomb, and we're going to be scared of the bomb. I don't know. Well, whatever the British kids say. Dave says, you sounded legit uncomfortable during the nuclear bomb episode. Apocalyptic stuff fucks me up too. I don't want to go without electricity or running water ever. Just kill me. Also, what was your brand when you did smoke? And you got to do some anti-weed ads. Yeah, I'll do some anti-weed ads, sure. I'll compile some of those and do some anti-marijuana ads in a future episode. Why not? But yeah, dude, like I was actually legitimately like uncomfortable during that nuclear bomb propaganda episode. I kept going, it's so creepy. It's so creepy. I just kept saying that over and over again because it was fucking creepy, right? It was just them blowing shit up and going like, "Look at the amazing devastation." And then immediately turning around going, "How could we stop this devastation from inevitably happening?" Well, just knock off doing what you're doing, motherfucker. Like, come on. And I'm right there with you too. I don't want to live in an apocalyptic wasteland. If nuclear bombs are going off and destroying civilization, I would like for it to take me out in those initial explosions. Please, please, and thank you. Kill me with a nuclear bomb, please. It's a weird thing to plead for someone to do, huh? What was your brand when you did smoke? Camels. I would get regular Camels, and then I would get like a Camel Crush with the orange flavor or the mint or whatever. But yeah, I mean, whatever. Who cares? Who gives a fuck what my brand was when I smoked? I don't know. Dan sent me this one. Not trying to feed you member berries, but your visions of the future episode inspired me. Do you remember how weird some people got in 1999 over that Y2K bullshit? Oh, yes, I do, because I had a friend named Ryan in 1999 who invited me to come over to his house for New Year's Eve. And when I was over there, his dad was all like, fucking weird conspiracy guy. He thought the world was going to end at midnight in our time zone specifically, I guess. Like, as soon as Indianapolis changed over calendars, that's when shit was going to go down. Not all of the other places that have already experienced midnight or whatever it was. But yeah, the Y2K thing, like in case we have some younger listeners who aren't in the loop, that's when people thought that when computers hit the year 2000, they were going to get confused and just like shut down power grids, launch nuclear weapons, planes were going to fall out of the sky. Like that was legit beliefs that people had. And it was insane to me because I remember even like opening our household PC at the time and moving like physically going in and changing the date on the calendar to being like December 31st, 1999, and then waiting for it to click over and then seeing that nothing happened to our family computer. It was like, why? Yeah, of course none of this shit was going to happen. So yeah, like that dude, his dad was super weird and he thought that shit was going to go down at midnight. So all of the people that were over there to ring in the new year with his son, he drove them all home at like 10:30 at night. Like, all right, guys, it's time to go home now. Sorry. It's time for you to get out of here and go end the world at your own house. So I can only imagine what happened when he got back home with his family at like 11:30 or whatever it was when he stopped dropping everybody off. Everybody in the basement, duck and cover. That's gotta be something that happened. Let's see. Dan also says, you stole my answer for the cartoon cliche on your live from PopCon show. But then again, in that FAQ episode where you answered the question, you gave me credit for the question when you are the one that came up with it. Yeah, I guess I did, didn't I? You're the one who said that you liked the smell cloud to wave you to a delicious pie. But I don't know. I like all the cartoon cliches. They're all my favorite. I like the eyes bulging out awooga. I like being able to blow into your thumb to blow yourself back up. All of that stuff. I love all the cartoon cliches, but yeah, I mean, that wasn't intentional. I was just throwing the first one out. My favorite one is the first one that comes to my mind, so I wasn't actually stealing your answer. I was just giving out the first one that popped up. But let's see. Did you hit on a woman in the crowd of your live show and then a few minutes later mention your wife? You better hope the missus isn't listening to that one, dude. Well, look, I hate to pull back the curtain here. I hate to spoil kayfabe for you, but that woman that I was hitting on in my live from PopCon episode that was in the crowd, that was my wife. Sorry. I know. It was a crowd plant. The woman that I was hitting on was my actual wife. So boring. So show business of me to do, huh? But yeah, no, don't be fucking. Of course that's fucking ridiculous. Don't be crazy. I would not hit on a woman in the crowd during a live show unless it was my wife. So yeah, let's Give me a little bit of credit there, Dan. Like, I know we've never met in person, but I've been talking to you on the internet for a very long time. I would think you know me a little bit better than that. Losing best comedy podcast to a cartoon must make you want to rage. I'll come by in my Hummer and we can drive around Toontown doing drive-bys with that weird Roger Rabbit gun. What was the name of that podcast? Are you going to review them next? First of all, they are actual reviews. I might be reviewing something that's easily made fun of and easily mockable, like I did with Opie and like I did with Michael Ray Bauer, but they are still actual reviews and I legitimately review them. What's the name of the podcast that beat me? I'm not going to say. But yes, it is a cartoon. They turn their podcast into a cartoon. But do I want you to come by in a Hummer and do some Toontown drive-bys with a weird Roger Rabbit gun? Fuck yeah. I'll load up the dip and everything. We'll just go in and dunk all of the tunes. I'll get Benny the cab. We'll meet you halfway, buddy. I don't care. But no, it actually doesn't make me want to rage. It's one of those things of, I guess what bothered me the most about it is when I checked out the podcast in hindsight, like after the awards were over, I listened to the podcast because I was like, if it's a comedy podcast, it better be funnier than mine. And the reason why I was a little bit bitter is because they spend about a year to make one episode. They make like an episode per year. And it's like, if you're going to take a year in between your podcast episodes being released, every joke better be firing on all cylinders. And it was just moderately chuckleable. Like it was like there were no big laughs to be had in that episode that I listened to. So I get it. They put more production value in it. They got the sound effects and the fucking other things. They do a lot more post-production. I personally could give a shit about the sound effects and the post-production and all of that stuff. I focus a lot more on my entertainment content, my entertainment value, and my way to make people laugh. That's my priority, not can I make this into a cartoon. But yeah, I'm not gonna roast them. I'm not gonna review them. I'm not gonna do anything like that. Like I said, it's not real sour grapes because other people have their own view of what comedy is, just like I have my own view of what comedy is. I happen to think that they weren't very funny, but other people did. So whatever. I am not bitter about it. It sounds like sour grapes, but in reality, it's just something to talk about. It's just a way of generating content for this podcast in a fun and comedic way. If you're talking to me about it when the microphones aren't on, then I'm just going to tell you, I don't know, man. I think that I'm funnier than them, but whatever. That's my real, legitimate, behind-the-scenes answer. Denise says, okay, Dragon Girl rocks. Please tell me you got in touch with her. I can't handle never hearing her on your podcast ever again. One of the best organic characters in podcast history. I agree with you, man. Dragon Girl was great. I really enjoyed interacting with her. She stuck around afterwards a little bit, and I talked to her a little bit, thanked her for bringing her passion and everything, but nah, I didn't get any contact information. I didn't ask her name or anything. I wanted Sean Jones to ask her out on a date. He's single. She's more than likely single. She's obsessed with dragons. Dragon Girl, if you're listening, please get a hold of me. UniverseOfWeirdos@gmail.com. We can do an episode together. I would love to do an actual episode where we talk about all of the reasons why I think that dragons were real. And I could go over all of the different historical evidence that suggests that dragons may have existed at some point in the past. So here we go. Parking ticket guy sounds like a blast at parties. Oh, yeah. The dude that I asked him if you were going to be arrested, what would you be arrested for? And I said unpaid parking tickets. And he was just like, oh, I don't know. I do the right thing. I guess sometimes I speed a little bit. But yeah, you're right. I was like, well, maybe assaulting a podcaster that put you on the spot. I don't know. I tried to make comedy with that, but I'm not too mad. Like, keep in mind, like, the people in the audience weren't professional comics. Like crowd work can be hit or miss when you're trying to generate laughs from the people in the crowd, because sometimes the people in the crowd aren't funny, like you experienced with parking ticket guy, as you call him. But I also, like, I don't get annoyed with it or like bitter about it. I didn't think, wow, parking ticket guy was a fucking drag. Nah, I just, sometimes you move on from that. Like, there are other times too, you try to get the crowd involved. Like during that PopCon episode, I tried to get people to argue a little bit and nobody was taking my bait. Like when I was like, what franchise would you eliminate? What's something that you don't like and stuff like, cause I wanted them to like argue amongst each other and then, kind of pick sides or whatever, but it didn't end up happening. There was that one point where two people were talking amongst themselves off mic and you can just hear me going, all right, okay, all right. So, yeah, I mean, crowd work can be hit or miss, but again, the audience members are not professional comics. They're not professional entertainers. I'm not asking them to prepare anything. I'm not asking them to make you guys laugh. I'm just asking them to participate enough to give me something to bounce off of. So I do wish I would have got a hold of Dragon Girl, though. I really do. Tyler wants to know, what would you have done if someone heckled you at your PopCon show? I probably would have just told them to shut the fuck up. I probably would have blasted them right back. I don't know. I would have just made fun of them, probably. Like, I wouldn't have done, like, stock. Sir, do I come to your job and knock the dicks out of your mouth while you're working? I wouldn't do anything hacky like that, but no, I mean, I know how to shut down hecklers. I've done it a million times doing stand-up. If I wanted to tell my friends about your podcast, where would you suggest they start? I told my one friend to start with Boys Beware because he's gay and will find it hilarious. Do you have anything planned for your 100th episode? I don't know, man. Like, I would tell them to, I guess Boys Beware would be a good one. You're Fired also ended up getting a lot of really good feedback. Serving the Public was my very first reacting to, like, very old PSAs episode. I don't know, man. I just tell them to go back and listen to all of it. Just listen to every episode, dude. Or, like, that's the beauty of this podcast, though, is I make it to where you can listen to any episode at any time, pretty much. The FAQs are a lot more responsive to the episodes that came in between each FAQ episode, so there's a little bit of linear nature to the FAQ episodes, but for the most part, I like to make things, like even when I did the smoking, anti-smoking episodes, like you could listen to the pro-smoking episode before you listen to the anti-smoking episode, and it's still just as effective as listening to them in the order that I released them, because I don't know, I never really thought of ever numbering my episodes or trying to make them anything that seems special, but yeah, my 100th episode, Spectacular, I might end up doing something with. I had originally thought about maybe doing like a best of type of thing where not where I take clips of my podcast and put them all together, but like my favorite clips that I've reacted to and just play them again and react to them again, but with a different spin on them. I think it'd be kind of nice to have, like, the James Brown interview from the Nonsense from the News episode. I'd like to do that one. Frankie Blue I could play again. Coming Digging Dale Jr. like that. Dukes of Hazzard. Play that guy again. All kinds of stuff. But he's gay. I'm blind. He's blind. Not gay. Ugh. But yeah, I don't know, man. I plan on maybe doing something like that, like reacting to some of my favorite things that I've reacted to in the past. Maybe. Sammy says, you're really good at working clean. Do you think your podcast would be bigger if you cut out any swear words? Not saying you should. I'm just wondering if you think clean comedy is more successful than dirty jokes or taken more seriously. And he plans to do a Pride-themed podcast this year. Your friendly neighborhood lesbian sure would appreciate it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do a Pride. Why can't I fucking say Pride-themed podcast? Why is that such a tongue twister to me? Fucking, I'm not saying barked attack aircraft carrier wing, like that one guy from one of my previous episodes. A Pride-themed podcast this year. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I have a pro wrestling friend who's trans that I'm trying to get on this show. Storm Garcon. We'll try to do that. We'll try to do that within the next couple of weeks. I'll hit up Storm and bug her a lot. Get your ass on here. Talk about you and you fighting Alexis Littlefoot. Do I think that clean comedy is better or more successful? I don't, honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so. It used to be like, obviously you have to do clean comedy if you want to be on like the Tonight Show or some sort of, late night talk show and do stand up on network television. And when I started out, people would basically tell you like, you have to have 15 minutes of clean material or you're never going to get booked anywhere. But what they actually meant was, if you don't have 15 minutes of clean material, you're never going to be on the Tonight Show, which is what my goal is. I never gave a shit about being a Tonight Show comic or a dude who needed to have 15 to 20 minutes of clean material. I never took it that seriously. My goal was always get laughs. Like, I didn't give a fuck. Tell a joke or be a joke. I don't give a fuck. As long as I got you laughing, then I'm doing my job. I'm a comedian. I'm supposed to make you laugh. But no, I think that long gone are the days of clean comedy rules. That might still be the mentality inside comedy clubs. I haven't performed in a comedy club in several years, so I don't know. But yeah, normally from a club perspective, if you can do an hour of material where you don't say fuck or shit or have any sexual jokes or anything like that, like if you can be clean for an hour, clubs will love you because they get to bill you as family friendly, which I find weird because comedy clubs are 21 plus anyways. So I've never understood that mentality of the club needs you to be clean. Like, why? Everybody in here is drinking and fucking drunk anyways. Come on, man. Jay says, bro, what was up with the anti-smoking ads leaning into the unattractive angle? Didn't smoking used to be glamorous? They really took a 180 on that one. Yeah, because it used to be like hey, why don't you come up and see me sometime? Type of thing. And like, it was always like the sexy girl was smoking at the bar and you would light, in like the 30s and shit. So it was always like, it was glamorous to smoke. All of the fresh supermodels smoke. But then it started becoming like, oh God, smoking is disgusting. And then he also says, why do they keep mentioning smokers stinking? It's the smoke that stinks. It's not like having a cigarette gives you BO and unwashes your clothes. Yes, that's what I was saying. Like in the one, like, why you running, boy? When she's like, is it my stinky clothes? And it's like, if you have stinky clothes, then you just didn't wash them. Because, like I said, my wife smokes and I am around her after she's had a cigarette. And yes, you can smell the cigarette smoke, but you can also still smell the cleanness of the laundry detergent that she used or her perfume that she has on. It is really weird that the anti-smoking would lean into, you're going to smell like shit. Like, you might as well shit your pants if you smoke. Jeez. I had to quit too after them shits got $12 a pack. Now Newports can run $15. Fuck that, weed is cheaper now. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if I were my wife, I wouldn't do it. I'd give it up just for the sheer principle of I'm not spending fucking $15 on a pack of cigarettes. I don't give a fuck if I can afford it. There is no chance you would get me spending $15 on something that I used to spend $4 on. Like, that just seems like, I know inflation is a thing, but this is ridiculous. This has gotten goddamn ridiculous. So yeah, I get it, man. I'm glad that you gave up smoking, though. It is better for you in the long run and cheaper for you in the long run, especially if you're about to start spending $15 a pack on some Newports. Fuck that, man, because Newports taste better, taste fresher too, or whatever that song was, than any other menthol cigarette. Do, 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 do. I loved the songs. The songs were great, weren't they? And then Chris, finally, I will go out with this one. Chris has sent me this. Opie says that he uses AI to produce his podcast. That is Opie, Greg Opie Hughes of Opie Radio. That is his podcast. The podcast is Opie Radio, wherever you get your podcast. Listen wherever you get your podcast and fail to be entertained because Opie's podcast is not very good. Opie says he uses AI to produce his podcast. Isn't that something you've done as a funny themed show like Twice? He does it for every episode of his crappy show. That was 3 times. I'm pretty sure it was 3 times that I used old Squeak McBeak to produce me a nice podcast, talking segments and stuff. He does it every episode? I didn't know that, but I know that on one of the episodes that I listened to a while back, he had a weird thing talking about AI and how much he likes using it and how much he likes talking to it. Probably because he's lonely and doesn't have any other friends. His wife is probably even tired of his shit at this point. But he uses AI to produce every episode of his podcast, huh? Now, I know you didn't throw this out there, but challenge accepted, Opie. AI producer episode coming very soon. I'm going to dust off old Squeak McBeak, and I'm going to challenge Opie to a who's got the better AI producer for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I don't know. It's been a while since I've done a podcast or an AI producer episode, so hey, any reason's as good as any other reason, right? So I'll be cool with doing that. I'll hook it up. I'll hook you up, Chris. We'll do one more, and we'll take on Opie's bitch ass and see if my AI producer is better than his, because I bet you it is. But that's going to be it for me for this FAQ, feedback and questions. Fuck you! And as I have said, if you would like to get in on a future FAQ episode, like I like to do every 6 to 8 episodes or so, shoot me a DM. You can find me on any social medias, X, JCraft247, Instagram, UniverseOfWeirdos, or I prefer the email, UniverseOfWeirdos@gmail.com. Find me on there. I'll love you for it. I'm more than happy to answer any of your shit, even if you want to challenge me and say, I bet you won't read this on your episode. How dare you make fun of somebody from a 90s sitcom who was never able to capitalize on it. You know how big this fucking podcast would be if I were on a 90s sitcom? You know how big I would insist on making it? Like, I would accidentally have a huger, more successful thing. Like, I don't know how Bauer is struggling the way he is. It's just fucking weird. His laziness is what it is. But if you guys could do me a good, huge favor and like, share, subscribe, give a positive 5-star review or a nice words of encouragement wherever you subscribe and rate and review podcasts. Oh boy, would I be your best friend in the whole world for doing that. And aside from that, man, we are growing a whole lot. So like I said, if the ads get a little bit annoying, for real, reach out and let me know. The ads are a little bit annoying. I'm trying not to make them too imposing, but I am also, try to make this podcast a little bit of money so we can keep doing it for a really long time. But I will see you next time. Blasting off. See ya.